UGC does not work for your business, and if you're watching this video, that is probably exactly what you're thinking. Maybe you've tried it, maybe you don't know what it is, and if you don't, I'll explain it in a moment. But you've probably tried it, it hasn't worked for you, and so you've reached the conclusion that UGC does not work for your business, and the reality is that probably isn't true. Okay, so this video is going to apply to any direct-to-consumer business. If you sell products to somebody directly to that consumer, a D2C brand, this is going to be useful, okay? It's going to help you get new customers for less money, which is what we all want. And it's going to help you scale your business with less fluctuations in revenue. And that's because creative, which is what a customer or potential customer sees when they see your ad, it's the video or it's the image. That is the creative, and creative is the biggest contributing factor to the performance of your campaigns, okay? It's not audiences, it's not offers, it's creative. Now let's use an example, okay? So let's say we spend 100K on ads. If you've got average creatives and you're getting a 1.5x return on ad spend, you're gonna get 150K in return. If we then do the work, talk about the things that we go through in this video, and we improve the creative so that they perform instead of a 1.5x return, we're now getting a 2.5x return on ad spend. We're going to make 250K for that 100K spent on ads. And that's an extra 100K in sales just by fixing your creative, right? It's not by spending any more on ads. This is extra revenue just from having better creative. So what is UGC? First of all, it's a type of creative, obviously. It stands for user-generated content. Now, 86% of companies are incorporating UGC into their marketing strategy right now. And experts predict that by 2033, 33% of all online content, not just ads, is going to be user-generated. Okay. Now, why is that important, and what actually is user-generated content? So it started out as video testimonials, and brands would use video testimonials from customers, so user-generated content, and they would put it out there as an ad. So if I've got a brand and I've got a customer that has spoken positively about that brand on video, I would then show that to other potential customers. They would see that, it would act as social proof, and then they would also want to become a customer. And that was then my ad. Then it evolved, people seeing how effective that was. And then brands would then start to pay creators to act as customers and create video testimonials. Then that evolved to now being paid actors. And soon it's going to be AI. I imagine, anyway, this is my hypothesis, we're going to get to a point where you're going to be able to type in a script into a AI software, and that is then going to spit out what looks like a video testimonial from a real customer, but instead it's not a real person, it's AI, and they're saying what we want them to say, and that's going to then become the new form of user-generated content. So you can imagine how powerful that is, right? To have a customer speak to somebody else, talk about their experience, and that convince them to become a customer. And it's really important. So if you're not using user-generated content right now and all of your ads are highly promotional, then you need to make sure that you're using UGC, but you need to use it in the right way. So maybe you've tried it. Why isn't it working for you? It's probably one of a few things. And I'm going to go through something now, which is a funnel. And you probably have heard of what a funnel is in the past as it relates to an overall marketing strategy. A funnel is basically, let's look at it as a shape, right? So we've got the shape of a funnel. Now, usually it's top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And when most people talk about a funnel, they're talking about the level of awareness that a customer has to your brand. So top of funnel, maybe that's people that have never heard about you. Middle of funnel, maybe they've heard about you, they've engaged in some way. And bottom of funnel is they already know, like, and trust you, like real customers. Now we're going to take that same concept, and if you're familiar with marketing, you know that probably is something that you already thoroughly understand. But we're going to apply it to the creative itself, okay? So the creative has a funnel. Just because your ads aren't getting you the returns that you want to get from your campaigns does not mean that your UGC is a flop, okay? We might just need to optimize it. So when we look at it as a funnel, let's say we've got a 30-second video. At the top of the funnel, we have what's called thumb stop rate. So this is the percentage of people that stop to watch the first 3 seconds of your ad. So it's your hook, right? If you've got a great video and you've got a terrible hook, nobody's going to get to watch the rest of the video, no matter how great it is. And so what you want to do in that situation is test new hooks instead of scrapping the video altogether and, creating a completely new piece of user-generated content. Hold rate is between 3 and 15 seconds long. So once they've gotten through the top of the funnel, they've watched the first 3 seconds, the hold rate measures between 3 and 15 seconds. CPM measures how expensive your ad is to promote to 1,000 people. So it's the cost per 1,000 impressions. Impressions just meaning to get on 1,000 screens, how much is that social media platform charging us? And the click-through rate is as a percentage of the people that see the ad, what percentage actually click through to whatever it is that you're pushing them to, usually your website, product page, or landing page. Now, why is this important? It's important to know this because unless you can read the data, let's go through the baseline metrics in a second as well. Unless you can read the data, you might be testing new videos all of the time, new pieces of user-generated content, without actually realizing that all you need to fix is one part of this funnel instead of the entire concept of the ad, okay? The amount of times I've audited a Facebook ad account, for example, and the creative is performing very poorly, the click-through rate is terrible, and that brand has then gone through cycles and cycles of launching new pieces of content when actually the hook was just very, very weak. Maybe you start the video and it's just your logo. Nobody cares about your logo. We are in an attention economy, and so if we can't hook somebody within the first 3 seconds, it doesn't matter how good the rest of your ad is. And so just by keeping the rest of the video the same, changing those first 3 seconds, we can make a bad ad turn good, high performing, okay? So this is how to understand whether your ad has potential or whether it genuinely is a flop. And to understand whether it's a flop, these are the baseline metrics, okay? If these are down across the board, just start fresh. If one of these are below baseline, so let's say your thumb stop rate, instead of 25 to 30%, it's 20%. But the rest of your video and all of these metrics, they're all within baseline. It doesn't then make sense to test a new ad completely. Instead, let's try and fix this one very specific area of the funnel. Now, if your cost per click is too high, your click-through rate is too low, your cost per 1,000 impressions, your ad costs are too high as well, thumb stop rate is too low, and your hold rate is too low, then scrap the ad, okay? UGC isn't working, your ad is a total flop. Now, what if your UGC is a total flop? What do you do in this situation? Now, if your ads are not performing across the board and it's not something that you can fix, you're analyzing the data and it's just not performing at all, it's usually one, if not all 3 of what I'm about to go through. So there are 3 reasons why that might be the case. Now, number 1, it's probably to do with your ads not being specific enough. So if your ads are not specific, especially in those first 3 seconds, then people are not going to watch it. And you don't want to mean nothing to everyone and try and appeal to everybody on the platform, right? You want to apply your ad to the people that can actually benefit. And nobody sells a product, nobody's strong. Usually your product is not going to improve every single person's lives, right? And it's going to mean more to somebody else. And so what we want to do is want to be specific. We want to get very deep into the psychology of the customer and make sure that we connect with that person. So instead of trying to speak to everybody, speak to somebody and be specific. Understand who that person is, especially in the first 3 seconds, right? We don't want to capture all of this attention and know that actually we've got a female-only product and we're now trying to apply this to everybody. And so we get a load of male people watching our ad or a load of males watching our ad, right? It's a waste of money. We don't want that. So ads need to be specific, especially in the first 3 seconds. So your hook, and also the algorithm, the way the algorithm works now is that a lot of the targeting is done through the messaging of your content. So if we're not specific and we try and sell to everybody, Facebook is just going to push that ad to everybody and anybody. And it's the same with all of the platforms, not just Facebook. Using that as an example. Now, if our ad is very specific, let's say, if you're watching this, you're probably an e-commerce brand, right? And if in the first 3 seconds of our video, instead of saying businesses, if your ads are not performing, watch this video. If we make that specific and we say e-commerce brands between 1 and 5 million that have that sell products in the health and wellness space, now we've gotten so granular and so specific, Facebook is going to know, or whatever platform is going to understand who that ad should be pushed out to. And so through that messaging and through that being very specific, it will start to match up these types of people with the ad. And so if they're showing a certain behavior pattern on Facebook that insinuates or suggests that they are this type of brand or that type of person in the eyes of your customer and your brand, then it's going to try and match that up, because the platform wants you to be successful. Okay, as much as that doesn't always seem to be the case. Now, just to click on this link, Sephora, which if you don't know, they sell beauty products. And I went through there and quite clearly they understand this. So the brands that promote in Sephora, they know that specificity is persuasive. Every single headline in that shop was specific. It gave a form of headline, a form of promise. And instead of just saying, for example, with this one, take this for your hair, it's going to hydrate your hair, and be very general. It's good for your hair or increases hydration. That's not that persuasive. If we say 86% more hydration for hair instantly, it's a lot more persuasive, right? And it's everywhere. 92% hydration, 2x shine, 40% more volume, repair hair in 10 seconds, 2x shinier, 2x smoother. All of this is very, very specific. And that's because specificity is persuasive. Okay, now let's say your ad is specific and it's still not performing. The chance is that the ad is not accurate. And what do I mean by this? You want your ads to be as accurate as possible with what your customer needs to see from you in order to want to become a customer. That sounds so obvious, but this is a common mistake of a lot of brands. One brand will look at the next brand, see the language that they're using, and think it must be working for them, so I'm going to copy it. The best example is mushroom coffee brands. Every single mushroom coffee brand video ad that I've seen talks about how you can eliminate jitters and reduce brain fog. That is not what customers are saying to each other, right? It's not what customers are really thinking, but yet it's what every mushroom coffee brand says. And that is not that accurate. And look, we've tried it as well. And if you're doing it right now and you're not getting the results, I'm telling you, just stop talking about that exact messaging. It doesn't work, right? It's not accurate. You need to understand your customer and understand their buying triggers. So instead of looking at other brands and their campaigns, speak to your customers, do surveys, do blind taste tests, get people's live reaction. What is it that people are talking about? Engage with Reddit forums, look at reviews, put it into AI, put your competitors' reviews into AI, and really understand on a granular level, what is it that your customers need to see from you in terms of that exact messaging to want to buy from you. And just to kind of put this into perspective, we're working with a protein brand in the UK. And when they came to us and we asked them, why do people buy from you? What makes people want to buy your exact protein? They would tell us that the protein is of higher quality, higher concentration. And so it's just the best protein on the market, which was also true, right? But this isn't actually what people needed to see from them in order to want to buy the product. It might be true, but it's not why they wanted to buy from this company. When we did the research, we spoke to customers, we tried it for ourselves as well. We quickly understood that actually this tastes like a McDonald's milkshake, but it's healthy. And that is the messaging that people needed to see in order to want to buy from them. So imagine now if we're talking about that exact messaging. They want a protein shake that tastes amazing like a McDonald's milkshake, but they also don't want to feel bad about it. They want it to be healthy. Let's say that is our messaging and that's what they want. How much more customers are we going to get when we compare that to when we speak about something that they don't actually care as much about, which in this case was where the protein was sourced, the quality of it, the ratios, the concentration. The customers didn't care about that. And if you don't know what it is that your customers need to see in order to buy from you, and you don't understand their buying triggers, then you're guessing. And if you're guessing, you're wasting money, and your acquisition costs are always going to be too high. You're going to spend more to get that customer than that customer is going to spend on your website, and so you're going to be losing money. How much money is wasted talking about something that your customers do not give a fuck about? Okay, so now let's say you've fixed your ad. You've done step 1 and step 2 to make sure that you've checked off those points. Your ad is specific and it touches on the exact buying triggers that your customers need to see, or the message that your customers need to see in order to want to buy from you. What is the third thing? That's curiosity. So if your ad does not create curiosity, you're always going to struggle to get sales. Curiosity gets clicks. Okay, we're not trying to get people to just brain dump a load of information about your product and what it can do for them. You want them to be curious, okay? If somebody isn't curious enough to get the click, they're not going to go to your website, they're not going to read more about your product, they're not going to add to cart, and they're not going to buy. What a lot of brands are doing right now is they're paying people to act as customers, and they just want that person to talk about all of the benefits, all of the features about their product and why it's the best on the market. And what we end up doing is just drowning that person in information to the point where they're paralyzed and they don't actually want to buy from you. They don't want what it is that you're selling. And second to that, if they've got all of that information, it's just not going to be a priority, right? They're going to make that decision later down the line, or maybe they'll do a bit more research. There's no reason for me to now click on the link, and if they don't click on the link, they're not going to buy from you. So a good ad creates a curiosity loop. Now, when I say a curiosity loop, what I mean is it makes somebody curious enough to the point where they want to take an action to close that loop. The best example of this is if somebody says to you, let's say somebody says, Paul, I need to tell you something. And then you go, actually, never mind. And they literally they stop the sentence. They were about to say something that we think is important based on the way they say it. And they've just said, you know what, forget it. What do you do in that instance? It drives you crazy, right? You need to do something. You need to find out what it is. You'd be like, no, tell me. And they say, no, it's not important. Don't worry. No matter what they say at that point, that curiosity loop is open in your mind, and you want to make sure that that's closed. And good ads do exactly that. Okay, so think about that in your ad. Let's even use another example. Let's make it specific to ads. Let's make it extreme. Let's say I'm selling a brand's products, right? Mushroom coffee brand. Let's use the same example. I run the ad. The ad buys. It's got an engaging hook. It's specific to me as the customer. It's relating to my pain points. I'm interested. I feel like based on the messaging that you can read my mind because you're touching on my exact buying triggers. And all of a sudden, before the video can end, it just cuts out. Black screen, can't hear anything, can't see anything. It just cuts out like it's a mistake. Now, I know that's going to sound like a very unprofessional ad, but that curiosity loop is now opened. And what are you going to do? You're going to click on the link regardless of anything, right? Even if you're on the fence, you're not sure if you want it. Just because we've hooked you in, we've got you as the right type of person to watch part of the video, you are going to click on that ad in order to close that curiosity loop. And if through curiosity, we get the right type of person to click through being specific and accurate, and that person then goes to the landing page, whether it's a product page, whether it's your website, whatever, and they are met with social proof, authority, so you guys clearly have been able to solve this problem for other people, and you are selling a solution to their problems, then they're going to buy from you, or a high percentage of people are going to buy from you. And that's how you make your UGC stand out, how you make it specific, how you make it accurate, and how you make the ad curious enough to get people to click and want to buy what it is that you're selling. Now, all of this is second to, one overarching theme that your UGC has to tick off as well, which is authenticity. So if your ads are not authentic, if they don't look real, whether it's a real customer who you've asked to give you feedback and you've given them some brief guidance, whether it's an actor that you've hired and you've given them a script, whether it's a creator and you've given them a broad brief, regardless of who is actually in that video, if that doesn't come across as authentic, if it feels fake, then everything else doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're curious, doesn't matter if your ad is specific, doesn't matter if you're talking about all of the right things and the buying triggers. If they don't feel like your ad is real, or they don't feel as if it's authentic, then they're going to discredit everything that is in the video, and it's not going to work. So those are the three main reasons why your ads are likely not performing, okay? So this relates, to be honest, not just to user-generated content, but paid social media ads as a whole. Make sure that your ads, always without fail, tick off those three pillars. If you're interested in learning about how we've applied this concept or these three main pillars to a brand recently, Body Complete, and how we've taken them from 35K per month to 500K per month in 5 months, then click on the link below. I'll include all of the details. You get to watch all of their ads. And if you're interested in having a chat with us directly, click on the link in that resource and we'll chat soon.